Long time ago, in a small village in Africa, lives a man called Ogidiga. Ogidiga was a warlord who has fought and won 17 battles. He was called the Wolf Warlord because of his cruelty and his act of no mercy. Even the king loved and respected him. His name rings bell all through the 7 kingdoms, which made him more honorable and even richer than the king himself. Ogidiga's fame and riches gave room to pride and arrogance. One sunny morning, he sat under a palm tree at the back of his palace. Suddenly, a thought struck in, and he said to himself, "Why can't I be king? Moreover, I am the bravest, richest, and most honorable than all the men in my clan. Why should I be loyal and serve one who has not seen the field of battle or witnessed the drop of a man's blood?" Then he sought out ways to overthrow the king. "Why don't we use Queen Adaeze against the king?" said Abori, his right-hand man and most trusted warrior. "Remember, she has always had eyes on you." That is a great idea, but we must be careful. We must be very careful. Send a letter discreetly at once to Queen Adaeze and inform her that I'll be hosting her in the next market day. Please, as I said before, be very careful. Queen Adaeze was a former princess of the Sokot village. Their village was captured on one of the conquests embarked by Ogidiga. He brought her back as a prize gift to the king of their land, and since then, she had sought to have her revenge, but has been pretending to be in love with him, so as to be able to enter into his private chamber alone. Immediately Queen Adaeze received the letter, she smiled to herself. "May the gods be praised. Ogidiga the Great has finally noticed me, and he has even invited me to a treat. I will surely honor his invitation. I would not miss it for the world." She was clueless of his true intention. At the first cockcrow on the said market day, she sneaked out of the palace unnoticed to grace the invitation of Ogidiga. On arrival, he treated her as the queen she was, showering her with so much love and affection. He made her promises of better and greater days, with her being the only one to enjoy his spoils for eternity. Then he said to her, "If I was king, you would be my only queen. If I was king, I would take you round the 7 kingdoms. If I was king." "Ogidiga, but you're greater and more honorable than the king himself. The only difference is the crown he wears on his head." "That is not all, my dear. I want to be addressed a king, which is the greatest glory one can attain, not just a mere warrior. When they commence the great dance of the 7 kings, do they ever call me? No. Our king goes with all the glory and honor I've bestowed on him, making our land the greatest of all the 7 clans. So, my dear, the crown alone is not kingship. He is sitting on my glory." I understand now. I would see how I can help you. In 7 days' time, I would be having the honor to wine and dine with the king. I would make sure I poison him and give you the throne." Ogidiga was very happy with the response he received and thought his plan had worked. Adaeze stood up and left for the palace. On her way back, she thought of how unreasonable and wicked Ogidiga was. He had the world to himself, and yet he wanted the crown. This was a king that was so nice and kind to him, giving him the position he deserved in the kingdom, and yet he wants to use me to achieve his selfish and wicked aim. I would make sure I deal with him. Shortly, she noticed her royal bracelet was not on her arms and decided to go back to get it from Ogidiga's palace. On reaching his palace, she overheard him talking to Abori, his trusted warrior, saying how foolish and stupid Adaeze was. He was telling Abori how he would use her and later frame her for being the king's killer. On hearing that, she was shocked. She knew she wanted revenge, but she never knew Ogidiga would go this far as to wanting to kill her after he has killed all her family members, and she decided to deal with him mercilessly. 7 days later, the news spread that the great king was dead. As Ogidiga heard of this good news, before he could leave his residence to the king's palace, Queen Adaeze came in and told him not to go to the king's palace, that there has been rumors around, people suspecting him to be behind the death of the king, and she advised him not to step out and allow the tension cool down. Instead, she advised him to send Abori to the palace to be his eyes and ears, which he agreed. When Abori left, she went inside to bring a glass of wine and told Ogidiga that their victory is near. They should cheers to a better and greater days ahead. Ogidiga foolishly took the glass and cheers to his death. On drinking the wine, he slumped and died. Immediately, the king's guard walked in and took the dead body of Ogidiga to throw in the evil forest. Unfortunately for Ogidiga, Queen Adaeze had informed the king of Ogidiga's plan and told him she had a better plan instead, which they agreed to execute. Abori got to the king's palace. Shockingly, he saw the king well and healthy, sitting on his throne, and the guards likewise arrested him. They hanged him 3 days later on the public market square to serve as a deterrent for anyone who thinks he's too big or too mighty in the village to rise up against the king. And Queen Adaeze was sent back to her people to gather the remains of her clan and rule them to a better days of peace, love, and prosperity.